Hello, everyone. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today we are going to be making some really cute Halloween cards. But first, I want to talk to you about my card class that I am having. It is the Frightfully Cute Halloween online card class. That is what you are seeing here on screen. And I'm going to walk you through what you're going to get in the class. Registration is open now and it closes at the end of day on Thursday, September 23rd. So that's 1 week only. So here's what you're going to get. For $39, when you take this class, you're going to get 4 card kits. And that means all of the pieces will be pre-cut and scored for you. All you have to do is the stamping and assembly for your cards. And I'm going to show you the 4 cards that we are going to make in the class. So this is the first super cute classic Halloween. Here's the second card. Here is the third card. And here is the fourth, if I could get that in the right position. Okay, and then in addition to that, you're going to get $20 in Stampin' Up products, and that includes the cute Halloween adhesive back sequins that you see there on the table. Mine is used, but of course, yours will be brand new. You're going to get a half a pack of the cute Halloween 6x6 designer series paper. And I'm doing something a little different. Those little acetate card boxes that you see, they're 3 1/8 inch by 3 1/8 inch. You're going to get a pack of those as part of the class. There are 10 in a pack. I am going to include a coordinating decorative strip for 4 of those boxes. And those 4 strips actually match back to the cards in the class, which is what I'm going to show you in just a second there. So if you wanted to send somebody a card and a little treat, you can do that. And of course, you can extend the life of this because you'll have 6 others that you could make with whatever you want. But I wanted to get you started so that you had either a card, a treat box, or both. And in that acetate card box, I have 2 Reese cups. They are snack size, not the full size, 2 snack size Reese cups that you can actually fit in that box. So once you start buying your Halloween candy, I'm sure you'll be able to fit other things in there as well. So here is the skeleton pattern that matches back. And then here's the coordinating strip, the decorative strip that will match back to our classic Halloween card. And then we also have this super cute pumpkin and kitty cat theme. And there are the coordinating pieces for that. So you're going to get 4 card kits, and you're also going to get 4 decorative strips for those treat boxes. So this is a really fun class. This is an unusual class for me, but I just want you all to know I absolutely adore Halloween. And there were things that were happening that I can't get into today, but the reason that I'm only offering registration for this class for 1 week is because I couldn't have it open as long as I typically would. My next card class is at the beginning of each month. So we're going to keep this one a little bit shorter so that I can get those orders in and so that you will have enough time to get your products in the mail. So if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to let me know. I will have all of the information linked down in the description of this video. And you can also reach out to me directly. You can message me on Facebook, you can email me, and I would be happy to send you the information for the class. If you are interested in that, I would love to have you in the class. Okay, so this is the Frightfully Cute stamp set, and this is the stamp set that I used in the class, but this is also the stamp set that we are going to be using today for our card projects in this Facebook Live. And if you are watching the replay, just know I want to hear from you too. So let me know where you are watching from. Do you own either the Frightfully Cute set or Gorgeous Leaves? The concept of today's Facebook Live is actually we are going to be heat embossing and creating background papers basically with these two stamp sets. So if you take a look at Gorgeous Leaves, you can see a lot of really fabulous background patterns there. We have sort of like a wood grain pattern. We have two different types of splatter patterns. We have some really fun and artistic leaves that could very easily be Halloween or fall. Now here I'm actually showing you some of the strips that I made prior to the live. So if you have a lot of scrap paper hanging around, get your scrap paper out and let's just make some fun backgrounds, okay? So one of the best things about having solid images where the majority of the stamped image is actually filled in, you can do incredible things with heat embossing with those stamps. So they have things that are called line art, which are basically like really thin, sketched out images. And then you basically color that in if you want or leave it as a line. But we also have these fill stamps where, the whole bat and the whole leaf and the whole witch, it's all, like a silhouette, or it's all already filled in. There's nothing to color. So when you use heat embossing, it just makes such a huge impact. So here, I'm just showing you the way that we played around with that. So Frightfully Cute is entirely in that design where everything looks silhouette or is filled in. So we have our spider on the web. We have our kitty cat there. We have these fabulous potion bottles, which I've been loving working with. If you watch my channel, you know that. We have a combination of the bat from Frightfully Cute and also these leaves, which I thought were so absolutely perfect for Halloween. And look at those splatter patterns. Look at that stamp. Just really incredible stuff there. It almost looks as if we've spilled the potion out of the bottles, right? So one thing that I wanted to mention is that as you're creating these strips, even if you're freehanding it, you can also use these as wraps around your acetate card boxes. And Stampin' Up! Sells these acetate card boxes in several different sizes. You're going to be getting the smaller size as part of my class if you sign up, but they also have a larger size that will actually hold, several cards. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And of course, if you want to be, you can see with those bottles, they're not stamped straight across. I didn't use my stamp apparatus. I was just freehanding and playing. And now we're just taking a look at the embossing powder. So we're going to be working with the black embossing powder and the white embossing powder today. There's also clear, and just depending on what you have in your craft studio, you may have multiple colors that you want to get into and use. So it's entirely up to you, but we're going to be sticking with black and white today. And we're talking about layouts and designs. So one of my things that I wanted to do with this one was cut out the spider web from the Frightful Tags dies, which coordinates back to the stamp set here. You can get the Frightfully Cute bundle if you are interested in that. And I wanted to have that extended web be part of the die cut web. So we're going to work on that a little bit later, but just different ideas that you can throw out there. That's the wood grain pattern that is stamped with the cat and the spider. And then we have the splatter patterns for the other two. And then we're going to, work with a few more here in the live today. So these are just extra basic white card stock strips that I have left over from cutting my own cards, basically. So I just create my own card bases. A lot of times I have leftover pieces or strips, and I like to turn those into basically my own designer series paper or background patterns that I can use on cards. And you can do multiple different layouts. You can grab your favorite die cut set. We're going to be using the stitched rectangles today. But whatever you want to make, the sky's the limit when you start creating your own backgrounds. So with Gorgeous Leaves, because there are no sentiments, you just are automatically in that mindset of how can we create something really cool with this? And if you feel intimidated by that in the beginning, take a look at some of your favorite designer series paper. Just take a look at what the artists have done, and that will be a guide for you when you start playing around with background stamps. You may have some stamps now at home that you've never used because you're not sure what to do with it. So this is an opportunity to take out those scraps, take out those stamp sets that maybe that you haven't used, and try something new. And if you do make your own backgrounds or your own designer series paper, basically with your stamps and your inks and all of that, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. This is one of my absolute favorite things to do, as you know. Okay, so here we are stamping the Granny Apple Green ink all the way across the strip. I'm doing a slight overlap on the actual stamping, and I think it looks incredible. You can start creating simple patterns just by doing a slight overlap like this. So you'll see where it's a little bit darker with the ink and a little bit lighter. And if you're going to be stamping and heat embossing, you're going to be using clear ink, basically. It's a Versamark watermark pad. And when you do that, you can't really see where you're stamping if you're freehanding it. So if you create yourself a basic pattern, you use the pattern as the guide to know where you're putting your images for the most part. And you'll see what I mean here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Versamark ink pad and we're going to stamp this witch silhouette flying on the broom all the way across, just the same way that we just did the stamping. We're going to take her and we're just going to stamp and repeat over and over and over again, all the way across the paper. Now, my goal with this was to try to stick to the center of each of these splatter patterns. And I sort of kind of, kept to that, but you'll see when I start putting the heat embossing powder down that some of my witches are touching. So did a pretty good job. The spacing wasn't absolutely perfect, but that's part of the fun of creating a background is you kind of don't know what you're going to get. You just play around with it. Now, this is when the magic of heat embossing starts to come to life. Okay, so this is me just finishing up with the heat tool, and this is what our finished embossed witches look like, which I absolutely love the look. I'm just playing around with sizes with the Stitch Rectangle dies. You can find, what pattern you like most or how many in repeat you want on your card base. I just wanted to mention quickly about the anti-static pad. If you have an embossing buddy, you can use a dryer sheet if you don't have an anti-static tool, something that you can run over your paper before you stamp down your Versamark ink so that the embossing powder doesn't stick to anything other than your heat embossed image. But with Halloween projects, I wouldn't worry too much about it, especially if you're just getting started. I think it's important just to play around with it. But heat embossed powder does have a tendency to stick to things like oils in the skin, like from your fingertips or things like that. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so for our next background that we're going to create, we're using the Misty Moonlight ink, and we're using the smaller splatter pattern stamp from Gorgeous Leaves. And I did this in repeat a bunch of times. I really wanted to try to create like a night sky because we're going to be using the Versamark ink with our moon. So first I just did the stamping to kind of get that speckle pattern going. Then we use our Versamark ink pad. I did 3 moons just to kind of get, you could do 3 different cards with this, however you want. Usually I'm doing this in repeat to experiment or see what I like. So now we're going to heat emboss this. I love how the first of the 3 moons turns out, but the other 2 I thought were they weren't as opaque. So I went with the first one for my card project. Going back in with the Misty Moonlight and my sponge dauber now and just creating that misty, murky night Halloween sky. If you get any excess ink on your embossed image, you could just wipe that off, which is what I did there. I'm trimming this down to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches. That's going to become a layer on a 3x3 card. The 3x3 card will be in Misty Moonlight cardstock. You just cut it at 3 inches by 6 and then score it at 3. And you can layer that right on top. So one of the reasons I wanted to do a 3x3, if you sign up for my class, you're going to get that acetate card box size that would fit 3x3 cards. So just in case you wanted to use those for something else, I wanted to give you a 3x3 card idea. And there are so many cute things you could do for Halloween with 3x3s. All right, and then here you just see me die cutting some bats, sentiment piece, The bat is from Seasonal Swirls dies. That's the one thing that I pulled from another die set because I love these bats. We're just putting that right on our moon scene. Love them. You could do as many as you want. This sentiment piece is actually from the Frightful Tags dies. And I couldn't get my stamp quite right tonight, you guys. So it's a little bit crooked, but it's a Halloween card, so we can get away with it, right? Those are our cute Halloween stars in black. I had to add some of those to our night sky. And now we're just kind of playing around with how many witches we want to cut out with those stitch rectangle dies. So I decided to go with 2 for this particular card. I love images and repeat. Now I'm just going up a size with my stitch rectangle. We're going to do a basic white card base, and this is the standard card size. So 5.5 by 8.5, scored a 4.25. This is the cute Halloween Designer Series paper. I love the Haunted House one. I just love it with the witches. So I had to do that again. Now this actual paper is Old Olive, and I used the Granny Apple Green for the ink, and you know what? It matched just fine. So just depending on what you want to do, I wanted to mention that. I decided not to heat emboss what I stamped on the card, so I went with Memento Tuxedo Black ink for these. But if you want heat emboss all over your card, absolutely, that would look absolutely incredible. But this ended up coming together so cute. This is the black glitter paper. So if you haven't had an opportunity to get this, or if you do have this and you haven't used it much, definitely put it into your Halloween projects. Boy, does it just really take it up a notch. And that's our card. So I couldn't resist, had to add more stars. I did the purple stars for this one, and they have that iridescent look, so they pull a little bit of the green, and they just looked so cute surrounding the witches because they're flying in the sky. They want to know where the candy is. So I just love how this card turned out. I hope that you like this one too. Okay, so I'm going back to the original backgrounds that I made. I was determined to make a card with the cat and the spider. So I decided to come back to this. And usually if I go over an hour on a Facebook Live, I will ask people if they want to hang around so that I can finish out a card. And sometimes people hang with me and sometimes they have to go. So that's what happened here. So I love images and repeat, as I've mentioned before. So I did decide to go with a set of 3. Again, that is just something that my eye gravitates towards when we're working with patterns. We're taking the spiderweb die, like I had mentioned earlier. We're cutting 2 webs in black with the basic black cardstock. And what we're going to do is we're going to line the web up with the web line on the embossed spider, and we're going to make it look like a continuous web, like it's dropping from that bigger web. So this is the gray granite cardstock, same card base size as the previous card. And I had some feedback. They were helping me design this card, and Mitzi had chose this black background from the cute Halloween, which I always appreciate your input. Always let me know if you have suggestions. And we decided to add these die cut spider webs. So I'm just going in with my multi-purpose glue, and we're just kind of customizing this so that it kind of looked natural. Because there's 3 of them, I wanted those webs to kind of look like they were meshing and melding into each other. So just trimming it out with the paper snips, finding, the right combos. And then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and adhere it to the card. I did decide to do a little extra stamping around the edges of the card. I thought it looked a little bit plain. So we grab the bat stamp. We use the Memento Tuxedo Black. We kind of go around the edges of the card there, just the top and the bottom. Oh, and I also, sorry, I forgot to mention this. I took a Happy Halloween to You. We did heat emboss that in white. I thought it stood out so nicely against the black Designer Series paper. But for some reason, I just could not stamp that in a straight line. So forgive me, it's crooked, but like I said, Halloween, that's my excuse. So now we're going to stamp those bats, and we're going to start adhering our card together in our layers. Mitzi had suggested using the Wink of Stella on the webs, and then we also used it on the bats because there's nothing better than having sparkly webs and bats on a card, in my opinion, and apparently Mitzi's as well. So I hope that you loved this card. I thought they all turned out great. So if you need ideas for background stamps or, these solid image silhouette looking stamps, consider this type of thing because They come together so beautifully. I think that they have such a great impact. If you're running low on designer series paper and you don't have another pack, or you've run out of your favorite pattern, just create your own. And we have completely, 3 different feels, but all with the same 2 stamp sets and heat embossing. So we have our witches, we have our cats and our spiders, and we have our moon. So I just think that between the 3 of them, they're completely separate, but they all kind of feel like they're from the same tone and the same pack. So I love how they all turned out. I hope that you love them too. Let me know in the comments what you think of these. I'm planning on using the Gorgeous Leaf stamp set to do a fall version of the cards as well. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. I'm always interested in what you would like to see next. I am going to be getting pretty heavy on into Christmas soon, but I still have some other projects to finish up first. So just before I end this video, I wanted to come back around and talk about the card class for just one more moment. So here I'm just grabbing the cards, and I couldn't find 2 of them because I had all of my stuff stacked on top of everything else. But here they are. So again, if you are interested in signing up for my class, reach out to me. You can message me on Facebook. You can email me. I would love to hear from you. I can get you the information for the class. I share all of my events and classes and information like that on my email list. There will be a link to sign up for my email list in the description below. $39 for the class. Registration ends on September 23rd. You get 4 card kits. 4 card kits means you get all the pieces pre-cut and scored. You just do the stamping and the assembly. You will also get a video tutorial, a PDF tutorial. You're going to get $20 worth of Stampin' Up! Product, which includes a half a pack of the cute Halloween Designer Series paper, those cute star adhesive back sequins, and a pack of these clear acetate card boxes in the 3 1/8 inch size. They're square. And then I'm also going to do 4 coordinating decorative strips to match the cards in the class. So even though you're going to get a pack of 10, 4 of them will have decorative strips that match back to your cards. So if you want to send it to somebody special and you want to send a card and a little treat, they will match up for you. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like videos like this one. Leave me a comment. Share this with someone that you think might enjoy this or might enjoy the class. And I will see you again on Sunday.